Welcome to MCT Podcast Episode 7. We're back at the Roundtable on a rectangle table with Jonathan and Ryan, and it is the episode of The Force Awakens. We are in Episode 7, so we've made it longer than Star Wars had for a long time, so pretty good progress on the podcast here. But the question I wanted to ask is, what is something that you guys like or want to learn about?
What do I want to learn about?
There's a lot we could learn about.
Yeah, a lot of options out there.
Yeah. I personally like coding, right? So I've done some development in the past. Most of it's, front end, HTML, CSS. Something I've always wanted to do is get more into JavaScript and kind of understand, I guess, more intimately how interactions work when you're dealing with, web applications, mobile applications. That kind of dovetails, that wasn't on purpose with what I do. But just having a broader knowledge of all aspects of where your project starts and goes is always helpful. And it's always been cool to think, hey, there's nothing that does X, I can go ahead and go build that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you kind of do that a little bit on our dev calls. You'll kind of dive into it a little bit more, ask some of those deeper questions and whatnot. And I've been kind of curious about what your knowledge and experience with that is, because we haven't really talked about that too much. So have you been learning? Is that it would be nice to.
Yeah,
still in that kind of phase.
I would say it's more surface level, right?
Yeah.
So I understand the infrastructure and the components and what certain things require, right? But if you were to hand me a JavaScript file and be like, hey, find this error, or find this instance, or I can't even give you an example because I don't know, I wouldn't know, right? But I know that, there's going to be limitations on what can be designed versus what, a specific platform can handle. And we learned about that on the call, I think it was yesterday, no, it was today, when Bonnie was talking about the way that the app was built. It makes it tough to bring in different icon sets, right? So knowing that limitation and being able to design around it.
Right.
I can understand the structure, and if I'm on a development call or talking with developers and they say, hey, we have X, Y, Z, I get what they're saying. But to start from scratch and do what they're doing, definitely.
Right. Yeah. That's a much deeper skill set. Well, this something I would like to learn, and this is so vague, it's why it hasn't happened, is I always think it would be cool to learn another language, right? Especially as somebody that, grew up in just not a very diverse area, right, of the world, if I'm being honest. I've never had a need to. There's never been a driving motivator. There's no deeper connection to my ancestry or something like that. I don't have family members that speak another language, so there's really never been a driving motivator. But I always feel like it'd be cool, to actually go and be able to speak another language, understand a different culture. Plus, it's good for you, I guess, right? It's good for your brain to actually be able to speak a second language. Something about having two words for some of that similar objects and stuff, I guess, is is helpful. But I don't know. I don't even know which one I would learn, which is another thing. I've downloaded Duolingo and gone through all the different things and whatnot. But it's all too fascinating. It's all too fascinating. It's all too interesting. And so I end up learning about one thing I am learning about right now is I got a book on it's called Empires of the Steppes. It's all about the different steppe tribes and that sort of Eurasian steppe, most people obviously, the first thing that comes to mind is the Mongolians, right? So they're covered in all these different little tribes and whatnot. So I've always been really interested in trying to find little bits of history like that and do deep dives into those, and then just really, really understand something kind of weird and a little bit different than a lot of what people try to learn about. For most people it's Rome, right? People want to know more about Rome, which is great. Rome's fascinating, cool as can be. Just to be the most stereotypical dude ever, right there, right? But there's a lot of really cool history out there. So that's really what I have been learning and what I like to learn.
So when it comes to the language, I feel like you end up learning about languages more than you learn the language.
Yeah, I really do. I will oftentimes start learning a language, and then I'll go onto like the Wikipedia page for the language and start like reading through about how it was written, like why they made the choices they made, and I go, oh, that's really cool, and don't end up learning the language at all.
Yeah.
So
If you want to start easy, just start British English. Master that pretty quickly.
Yeah, you know, they do have a lot of good slang, actually.
They do.
They do. Yeah, I could really learn a lot of cool, you know.
I feel it only
Croissant.
works. It only works with the accent, though.
That's
You
true.
just say
Yeah,
it
if I
with an American accent, it's like, okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, me saying, you know, bloody hell doesn't
Yeah.
sound nearly as like, oh, okay. Yeah. Oh well.
I'm absolutely knackered.
Okay.
How about you? What do you want to learn, Nolan?
Oh, jeez. I wasn't even planning to answer that myself, actually.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Plot twist.
Yeah. I was gonna, well, we'll get to it. I guess now that I'm on the spot, what is something that I want to learn? I think coding is on my list.
Yeah.
I have found that, and this is kind of where I wanted to go, is when I'm trying to learn to code, a lot of these things, they break it down, but they don't give you that chance to level up in coding. So they'll teach you to do one thing, and then they'll teach you to do another thing. Like, platforms will break it down plenty, but then they won't let you build on it correctly. Like, you're learning each individual thing. Or there's platforms that expect you to build on it way too quickly, and it's like, learn this. Okay, you know that one, so you better know how to do it next time, because now you got to do that and this. And then, like, 4 steps in, you've got to code a whole rock, paper, scissors game, and you don't know where to start. So that's the 2 types of platforms I've interacted with coding, and I wish there was a way to break it down in a way that could also be seamlessly integrated. And I think that's kind of where we're going within our platform.
Yeah.
So that's why I was asking about that. And coding was, like, the perfect example for that.
Well, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
sounds like you guys both need to learn how to code.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well-
You're going to be your accountability buddies for that now?
Absolutely.
What language? Where are we starting?
British English.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I'm going to learn to code British English. But
You already do. You're a prompt engineer.
I do know how to code C++ and Python to a degree, and R. Although R is weird. It's not really coding. It is. But
all the R developers out there are seething right now.
yeah, it's coding, but the context that you use are usually you're not trying to just code, you're just trying to represent something in data generally, and so it's more of like a targeted data science language than it is coding an entire platform in R. Do people do that?
You are asking the wrong
Yeah.
people.
Once again, I said I wanted to learn to code because
Okay.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
I didn't mention anything about it.
All right, so I feel bad for anyone on R. All of the R developers out there, my apologies. But that is something that our platform might be able to grow into, is all of these different, what are they, pathways, I guess I could say.
Sure.
Different paths where we use our system, our framework, and then we just let AI or humans, depending on the size of the topic, create these classes and help people to grow in all sorts of directions, and learn at the speed that they need to learn at. And I know I've heard this a million times. Have you ever seen those like ads about education where it's like K through 12, you can learn with us, you can learn at the speed that you want to? That is not what I mean. I don't mean like, complete this objective at the rate that you want. I mean, we will analyze your behavior, learn what you're good at, what you're not good at, and let you work on what you're not good at until you're good at it, and then let you build upon it. And so it is growth of behavior through actual analysis and actual feedback that will allow you to grow, instead of complete this objective. Okay, your taskbar moved a little bit further, now you have to do this. It's going to be, let's look at what you did, what do you need to improve, and then that's where we will set you up with that next set of criteria to try to hit.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think that's where we're headed?
Yeah, I do think that is exactly where we're headed, Nolan. Yeah, absolutely. We are actively working on different ways of taking the results, right, that we've got from people in the software, and then pointing them in ways that they can improve, right? And analyzing that and just trying to have a better understanding of, okay, you're not good at, listening, or you're not good at specific, little bits of behavior, right? How does that end up affecting your numbers, right? Like as a salesperson, how does that affect your closing percentage, right? And then trying to figure out, okay, what do you need to do to repair that, and then giving you the training for that, right? And then just trying to always produce those better results just through that information. So yeah, that's 100% where we're going. I mean, that's I don't think anyone's really been able to do that before. Show how training can affect the results downstream, right? It's usually it's always assumed, right, that it does affect it and affects it positively. We're just going to prove it.
Yeah.
It makes me think. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say we already do the first part of that, right?
Yeah.
So what Amal was saying, the unit objectives, I think is what it was, is distilling information down or courses down to its composite parts, right? So you might have a few pieces of information on one very specific piece of a puzzle, right? And then you're going to have the information on the next one. But in between those, you're being, in a sense, you're being not quizzed necessarily, but you need to show that you understand that little piece of the puzzle, and then you go to the next piece. And then as you go on, you're showing that you understand this at 80%, you understand this at 0%, this at 100%. So we're already at that first piece of it, right?
Yeah.
Now it's just identifying those ones that they need work on, right? Okay, you got a 0 on this, 30 on this, 60 on this. Here are the ones you did well at, keep practicing, but here are the ones we really need to focus on. And so kind of just that repetition until all the pieces, all the units are at, 100% hopefully, but at least like a passing rate.
Yeah. Imagine this as a language tool where you role play with Pip in the other language, and you say some things correctly, you get some vocab correct, you get some of it incorrect. It'll score you on your vocab and your grammar, and even if you're writing your spelling, right, it would score you on these 3 categories, and it would say, this new vocab word, you nailed this one, you know exactly how to use that in context, you don't know this one, and then it'll give you feedback. Here's the grammar you're doing incorrectly, here's the vocab you're doing incorrectly, and then, here's what you're spelling incorrectly, or conjugating, or whatever it is that you're learning. And then you can go and fix all 3 of these things. Like, you can work on whatever you want to work on that day, whatever's not going well that you think you can improve upon that day. And then you can learn the language and build it out in your own direction. Like, that is so incredible. I don't think anyone's done this. I think a human coach is the only way you could have done this in the past. Like, that's cool. I think we could totally build that. But, we're always shooting for the stars at MCT. So.
That we are.
Yeah, and you bring up another point. There are so many things so many times where either someone's asked me, where do I work or what do I do? I can sit down and do my work and do it just fine. I don't have any issue with it. But then when I go to explain it to someone, it's like, there's interfaces and everyone interacts with it, and it just comes down to me boiling it. It's a classification of graphic design. It's essentially what I tell people at this point. But I think there's something to be said about making the connection in your brain, right? Of doing something, but then also being able to explain it. And obviously, there's an element in teaching, right? If you're going to teach something, you have to be able to know how to explain it. But even if it's just a simple talking with an AI about what you do, about whatever it is, so that you can almost conceptualize it differently, more spatially, more compartmentalized, right? Where it's not this thing that lives inside of you, but you can express it. That alone is a useful tool to have, right? To be able to talk on things that you couldn't previously talk on before. So even if it's just that, or you're not even necessarily learning anything new, you're just learning how to communicate maybe things that you know with the AI. A little bit of a rabbit hole, but made me think of it.
Jonathan's out here representing PE-effing your life. You can just, how do I really play pickleball? You learn each step to how you play pickleball, and I actually do think seeing things in that way can really give you some perspective. Like, that is a real skill. And your point is 100% correct. Like, if you understand that, oh, I'm dropping this back over the net on this side so that that person has to come up and play the ball, and then there's open space in the middle, whatever, however in-depth you want to see it, when you see those criteria laid out, it's no longer just muscle memory, it's the game within the game. You're playing chess while you're playing pickleball. And so, definitely.
Yeah.
That PEFing your life. Like I support that point.
And it helps you. I think it helps you wrap your head around the similarities and commonalities of things that aren't the same or that don't have any relation, right? So, for example, in using Figma and UX design, like there's the whole idea of atomic design, right, where you're starting at the very base and designing around it, specifically in using components, right? So when I'm making a button, I have like an icon button, a button with just a word, and maybe one that has an icon and a word. Well, the button that has the icon and the word, that icon is nested. It's a nested component, right? So I've already defined what the icon is. Now I'm bringing that defined icon into the button. And if I've got a form, I'm bringing that defined button into the form. If I have a defined, another component, I'm bringing that form into that component, right? So there's these nested components where if at the end of the day I have 100 pages, all using a specific icon 50 times, I can say I don't like the look of that anymore. And I can change this one thing, and it will change it across the entirety of the pages. So just the idea of atomic design, like boiling everything down to its smallest part, and then using that and working with it. I can't give you an example of how you could use that, but even just like maybe organizing your home, right?
Sure. Yeah.
What are the things that if I need to change something, I can do the fastest, right? Is that having a modular shelf with like the same size drawers, and I put everything that I need in these drawers. Now I need to put this drawer of knickknacks out in this bedroom and replace it with this because we've got kids moving around. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So there's just, by speaking about it, you can connect it to other points in your life, and maybe improve those areas. That was a lot, but
I was able to track what you said, but I don't know where to go.
I guess to your point, awareness of that is good. Yeah, I don't. Wow.
I guess I was thinking Atomic Habits. I don't know if you guys have read that.
Yeah, no, that was very Atomic Habits.
So in similarity, you start with one habit, you do that all the time, and then you wrap other habits around those, and so it becomes this
habit stacking. Right. Yeah, I think they call it in the book.
That's just my life,
Yeah.
I'm very. This is what I do at this time, and then I go and do this at this time. And originally it was just, I'm grabbing my brother, we're going to the gym. And this was at like 11 p.m. because he works until 10. So this was just part of my life as I went to the gym at 11. Well, then, I thought, oh, maybe we should have a protein shake after we get back home. And essentially I ended up stacking everything so that now my routine, even after having... my brother's job got moved. We don't work out at, 11 p.m. Now I still do all of these things that people would usually do at night right after I work out in the middle of the day, and then it's just organized for later, just because that's the habit that I associated together. So that is a good mental hack to get things done, and I love that. I think that's great advice because you are, the sum of your actions, and a lot of your actions are habits. And so those are really what define you over the long period of time, is what habits did you set in stone right now. Mm-hmm. So another great one. There you go. Some books. We really should just be a book club.
Yeah. Apparently, we're a book club / productivity,
Yeah, hype people up. Let's go.
That's fine.
Training and self-improvement go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And so we've ended up speaking a lot on self-improvement and providing books that people could read that allow for philosophical approaches to self-improvement as well.
Yeah.
Just in the context of training. And I love that, personally. That's my niche. Mm-hmm. Like, I really enjoy learning about philosophy, learning about, habit building, self-improvement, and structuring life in a way that is enjoyable, but also, you can build the type of life you want to build. You're hitting your goals.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys thought about goal setting too?
Goal setting. Yeah, what about it, I guess? Just have I thought about it ever? Or
So there's something that they teach now. A lot of teachers are spreading this. They call them SMART goals.
yeah,
And it's an acronym. I don't remember the acronym.
what it stands for
directly. But the idea mostly is like measurable is the M, achievable is the A. The point is you can hold yourself accountable to these goals. And you can see the acronym on the screen.
We can't. But
Yeah.
No, yeah.
But if you set goals that you can personally hold yourself accountable to, and they're not achieving outside feedback, but they're just, I take 50 shots a night playing basketball. Not taking shots.
Whoa. Not achievable.
Definitely not drinking. Okay, all right. But Steph Curry, let's say, right? He took 500 shots a night in basketball. Okay, and that allowed him to gain the skill of making those shots. It's not even if your goal is just make 100 shots, that's achievable, and so you'll spend your time doing it. But if you're a figure skater, just say you're going to practice the triple axel 100 times that day. Or land it 100 times that day. That's something you can hold yourself accountable to. Even if the judge would have marked you down on a couple of those, all you're doing is perfecting it more. And so if you give yourself measurable, achievable goals, you can improve your life without needing that feedback in order to feel like improved. And so that's how you kind of stay on track, is the whole point.
Right.
And so within the context of our platform, we give you that feedback so that you can set your goals and you can get the measurements and improve upon those things as you hit those underlying habit goals. So like, I want to practice 100 sales calls. Well, instead of just doing 100 sales calls and trying to fix what you think you did wrong over the course of that 100, no, you do one, here's your feedback, and now you're doing another, and it's just your habit to do 100. Well, by the time you're on number 99, you've probably fixed most of your problems. You're probably getting hundreds consistently. And so you set your goals in your own head that way, and we can provide you the feedback so that you can improve without having to organize it all in your own head.
It reminded me of something, it was a middle school band teacher. He said, practice doesn't make perfect, practice makes permanent, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're practicing all the wrong things, right, you're going to embed that. Right? So by having that feedback and practicing over and over until you have it right, and then even continuing to practice makes it permanent.
Exactly.
That's the goal.
With our
Mom, I'm coming for you.
500 people are going to be working under you.
It's still just gonna be me. Just title change only.
All right, that was episode 7.
Episode 7.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed. That was fun.